Jono, thanks ever so much for joining us. We're back here at Merchant Taylor's. You boys are heading off to Glamorgan on coach in about an hour's time. Just wanted a quick catch-up really to sum up T20 campaign. Great start, really difficult period. Great to bounce back with a win against Kent.
Yeah, obviously it's been a really tough period. 6-game losing run, which no one obviously wants. But as a really young group, sometimes it's difficult to get out of those runs. But the way that they bounced back against Kent has been really, really good. During that time, during that 6 games, we always said all the way along we wanted to support and back our young players. So we haven't left anyone out. We've given them total confidence in trying to put together their plans and learn and get that experience. We talked about at the start of the campaign about taking this young group forward, and the temptation to bring more senior players in is there, but not for us, because we want to develop this young group. We see this young group as a team moving forward, and unless we play them and they gain match experience out in the middle, it doesn't matter. You can do all your training and you're working behind the scenes, but it's practicing out in the middle as well. It's getting that experience out in the middle. And I think we've talked about, and I know Alan Coleman's talked about, we've had very experienced teams in the past, and still only had a 30% win ratio. So we've got to start somewhere, and we feel this young group is a group to really take us forward.
I suppose one of the tests of a young side is how they bounce back from difficult periods. Obviously you mentioned those 6 losses. Tough for any dressing room to be upbeat there, but that makes the win against Kent and the way they bounce back there with a really mature performance all the more impressive.
Yeah, I think we've said all along we're going to stay very level in the change room. If we lose games of cricket, we'll review why and try and develop and learn and get better. So there's no finger pointing. There's no creating an environment where people fear their places or fear getting out or fear walking in the changing room. So we've stayed very level alongside it, and the boys every morning when you see them running around in warm-ups, the team spirit's great. And during this period it has been tough. It's more about the fact, obviously everybody wants to win games of cricket. There's every sportsman, every coach in the world wants to win every single game if you can. And we don't you can't take positives necessarily out of losses, but what you can do is look at individual performances. And if you look at our young players, you look at someone like Jack Davis coming in when Morgie's not been around. He's come in and got some 40s. He struggled against Essex, against Harmer, a high quality spin. He did some work in the background about spin and how he wanted to play it, and then he goes in against Narayan and plays him as well as anybody has in the country. So he's coming on brilliantly. Martin Anderson with the ball has been unbelievable all the way through. I mean, what an innings by Joe Cracknell the other night. Phenomenal. Everyone thinks of him as a hard-hitting number 3, and he's come in and knocked the spinners around, taken the difficult middle period and just cruised through it for us and got us over the winning line. And then Luke Holman with his batting has been unbelievable. Still learning with the ball, but still competing. And I know he had a couple of bad overs in the middle of that run, and he's come back brilliantly, and he's performing really well. Even Toby Greatwood, when he came in for 1 game, shows us that we can rely on him and we can pick him as well. So I've probably missed out a few youngsters as well, but they've been individually they've been doing really well. Just as a team, we haven't quite put it all together. And I thought then the other day, we did that against Kent. It was a really mature performance against Kent with the young side.
I guess all that comes with learning. One thing I spoke to Alan Coleman about, you mentioned I interviewed him a couple of weeks ago. Alan said with that young side you need those senior players around them to step up and lead the way. Must have been very satisfying to see Simo step up at Lord's last Sunday and a very composed knock, and we know Simo's got that in him, but great to see him step up and play along with Jack.
Absolutely, and ideally you probably do need more senior players around, but we've looked at the group and thought, well, we want to really support this group because we really believe in them and we're really excited about them moving forward. So you put a senior player in, you're taking out one of your youngsters. So we are limited on our senior players, and Simo does have a big role to play with that. And I thought the other day he did that brilliantly. Again, as I said, it was a mature run chase really. To take their spinners for singles and twos rather than taking them on. Then when the seamer comes back on, you're taking for 12 in the over to relieve all the pressure. So it was a very controlled, very mature run chase. And yes, Simo played absolutely fantastically, and that's what we obviously need from him moving forward and more often if we can.
I guess that ethos of wanting to build a side for the future is all well and good, but professional sport the way it is, there's a desire for immediate results, certainly from the fan base, certainly from the members. One thing I did speak about with Alan was the need for patience from the members to bear with us, to get behind us effectively, and actually go with us on this journey as we build a side that's going to be successful in a couple of years' time.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, we all want to win. Of course we want to win, but as I said, the history of us in T20 cricket, we've won it once in 20 years. We've reached a couple of quarterfinals. Our win percentage is 30%, and as I said, we've had the likes of Milan and Sterling and Franklin and McCullum and De Villiers and Finn, and we've had amazing cricketers and still only had 30% success rate. So we feel this is the best way moving forward, and this is how we're excited about this group. And if you add maybe one or two domestic signings over the coming years, if you add the right overseas players, you will win games of cricket, but you'll do it with a group that are Middlesex through and through, and what desperately want to represent the club, and they're talented enough to do so, but they just need games under their belt to gain those experiences out in the middle.
Absolutely, it's incredible really, John. I think we've been through that awful run. We've won 4 games. The way the South Group is sat, it's so condensed. You've got 2 runaway sides in Surrey and Somerset. You look down from kind of 4th down to about 7th where we are. There's 2 points in it. We've proved against Kent on Sunday, and those first 3 games that we're capable of winning games. We've already beaten Glamorgan. We head there tonight. Another win tonight, and the group opens up massively, and the qualification is certainly not beyond us.
No, it's not. And look, it's an old cliche. We're really not trying to look too far ahead. It does excite the group that there is still an opportunity. We're still playing for something, obviously, but we'll still concentrate on our performance and how we're learning and how we're improving and how we're getting better, rather than the results all the time. And obviously, then the results, if you're doing all your identity stuff and all the bits that you'll process, the result will take care of itself, obviously. But the more important is individual performances adding up to your team performance, and we did that, as I said, brilliantly against Kent, and we need to repeat it. And that's the tough part, is doing it consistently. And T20 cricket has a funny way of smacking you in the face a bit when you least expect it. But no, we'll be pushing hard to get the positive results.
Good stuff, John. That's great to hear. It's a brutal old schedule. Obviously, we're Glamorgan tonight. We're then back home against Essex. We're then up to Nottinghamshire for another 4-day venture. Just touching on our last 4-day outing, which transpired to be a 3-day outing against Derbyshire. How much of that result was a hangover from the form we were in T20, or were the two not necessarily related in your mind?
I don't think they're related. I think we've got an experienced red ball core that are only playing red ball cricket, and they were primed and ready to go. I think there was definitely a little bit of tiredness from the guys who played Thursday night, Friday night, travelled Saturday, played Sunday, and that's a heavy schedule for anybody, let alone guys who've probably not experienced doing it. Yeah. But saying all that, there were so many opportunities to win that game. We got 250 on a difficult wicket first innings, and felt that was around par. We would have liked 275, nearer 300 maybe, but we thought we were in the game. Then we bowled poorly first innings, morning, and gave them a bit of a head start. And then obviously Toby came in with that fantastic spell and got us a slender lead. And then we started well again, and then threw that away again. We were hoping to get 250, 275, make them have to score the highest score of the game to win the game. And we lost wickets at crucial times. And even though 219 was the target, we still felt we were massively in the game. And then obviously Masood, being an amazing cricketer, I mean, he was the only batter on that wicket, apart from Rocky to a degree, made that look very easy. But we dropped him on 18. If we had taken that opportunity, I'm pretty sure we'd have won that game at that point, because no one else found it easy on that wicket. So there were plenty of ways we could have won that game, plenty of opportunities to win that game. So look, I don't think that's a result that suddenly we feel, we're in poor form or anything. It's just a result. We've played 7 games now. We've only lost 1. We're right up there still. We've got Notts, which is an amazingly difficult game, as we know, coming up. Best side in the division and one of the best in the country. But we'll be up for the fight in that game.
You mentioned Toby Rowland-Jones. I just want to pick up on him. It's like the form he's in. It's like signing a new player. I mean, he's come back this year as good as he's been ever. He's doing wonders for us with the ball. Too late in Toby's career to knock on the England door again, or is that something he's got in mind? Or
I don't think he's necessarily got it in mind, but it's certainly something I've been ribbing him about a little bit. He's in such good form. He's bowling as well as I've ever seen him, to be honest. And before the first squad was announced, I was saying to him that I thought he had every chance of getting in it. And I think, if anything happens to Brody or Anderson, you've got a very experienced cricketer that's done it at the highest level, that's not going to be nervous, taking the new ball for England, and has shown what a fantastic cricketer he is. So I don't think it's out the equation at all. I think he's got every opportunity of still playing for England. He's certainly good enough to, from what I'm seeing. He's been the standout of anybody I've seen in the country, personally.
One last question, Jono. As you said, we're kind of halfway through the championship season. We're just halfway past blast. Have you addressed your own aspirations for the season? Where are you sat at the moment in terms of what would constitute a successful season for Middlesex as we sit here and now?
I'm sat in the same place I was at the start of the season.
Where you didn't give me an answer.
Where I didn't give you an answer. Yeah, absolutely. As we said at the start of the year, we want to improve individually. If we do that to each individual player, the team performs better, and then the results take care of themselves. It's just the way that we run things. It's the way that we want to run things. It takes a bit of pressure off players if you don't set too many high targets. Take one game. Every game you're looking to perform as individuals, and the team plays well, and then the results take care of themselves. And that's the way we look at it. So I'm still not answering your question.
You're not, but that sounds like a fair point to end on. Jono, the last time we sat at Merchant Taylor's, we sat out and it rained when we were mid-interview. Today we're sat under a tree in glorious shade, but I think we might be sat in a spider's nest.
Yeah, there's a few coming
so
out.
That's probably a decent time to knock this on the head. Thank you, mate. Jono, thanks for your time. All the very best of luck at Glamorgan tonight, and we'll catch up again soon, no doubt.
Will do. Thanks a lot.